Let us stand for the prayers.
ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः विघ्नेशानमुनि गुरुसस्मरुनि लक्ष्मी स आवाहिते आम्ही गुंतवणूक शिकण्या हे सक्त आरंभिले केव्हा स्थावर आणि जंगम कधी कोठे किती गुंतवू चर्चा मंथन तज्ञ बोधनता हे प्रश्नही सोडवू ठेवी भाग सुवर्ण कोष्ट अथवा रोखे कसे फंडते वृद्धी भांडवली विलोकन नको पर्याय कोणते कोठे उत्तम रोखता सुगमता लाभांश वा व्याजही कोठे गुंतविणे सुरक्षित कसे नोंदीस कैसी वही सन्मागे धन संपदा मिळविणे अत्यंत आवश्यक पैसा ध्येय नसे म्हणून जपणे जाणीव सामाजिक ज्ञानाचा उपयोग गुंतवणुकी साठी सदा होऊ दे हे सारे समजावया सुमतीवे आम्हास हुशार दे
Good morning. Today's subject is of great interest for most of us because we have to file our returns by 31st of July, which is the uh, required deadline for filing the returns. And we have this one session every year. So we have our in-house speakers, I would say, Mr. Ashok Tere, and uh, I think I need not give a detailed introduction for Mr. Ashok Dere because he's been the ex-chairman of PV Bhagath Investment Guidance Cell and he's been holding this fort for very long time. I would like to also introduce his associate Akshay Tambe, who is a chartered accountant and also a law graduate, and has been assisting him in holding this session for very many years. So with that very brief introduction, I will invite Mr. Dere to come over and speak up.
Good morning, and don't bother about the attendance because many of you may think that our returns are filed by a chartered accountant. Why should we worry? But you should know how the things are proceeding, and you should also know certain precautions which you have to take. So far as today's session is concerned, I'm just going to give you some 10 minutes brief points which everyone must know while filing the return of income. And most of the talk is going to be done by Akshay. So, in Marathi we prepare this Satyanarayan Puja, no? So in that Satyanarayan Puja, I have to just to say Mama. He will do the rest of the things. So proper presentation, etc., he will do it. But bas na to Akshay. I'll just 3 or 4 issues which I would like you to keep it in mind. Although you may not be filing your returns, your children or they also may be filing from some other persons. You should know this. There is a chartered accountant who is caught and disciplinary proceedings are underway. And not only that, some 200 to 300 clients for him, he was filing the return. Their demands, refunds, all assessments are also kept on hold. They are done. But if you have a refund, no refund is issued. If you have a, even if you have paid, that credit for that payment is not given. Now we all heard of cyber frauds, but this is an income tax fraud. And most of the senior, the young generation people who earn in lakhs, say their pay package may be 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, etc. They are prey to the tricks of these people. Earlier, you will all remember that we were having returns with all enclosures. Now, if you have paid PPF, then you were enclosing receipt, donation receipt, salary certificate, TDS receipts. All those things we were enclosing along with the return and submitting it. Then came the era of paperless returns. Now, when the paperless return era was introduced, now whenever something new comes, there are always people who would like to take disadvantage of it and mix. So what was done? 2 lakhs rupees minus house property loss. कौन पूछता है? Where is your certificate and all that? 1,50,000 PPF LIC deduction. Even if you are not paid, they were claiming. Because the receipt was not to be enclosed. There was no question of, enclosing bank summary along with. In fact, there was no question of enclosing anything. It was just a paperless return. And then with this paperless return, they were submitting it. Arey, PPF, no, I haven't paid anything. Okay, who is going to ask you? And their charges were, because in such a situation, their refund would increase. And their charges were based on the quantum of refund. And all in cash. And that is how, and these executives they say, Arey, I don't have to go to chartered accountant. Our person comes here, he just takes the salary certificate from me and fill up the return, I file it. And then somebody asked, what if they are, if you are caught and if some receipt is required to be produced, etc. Then you can always say that, I think this deduction is inadvertently claimed. It was done by my uncle's friend. Uncle is no more. And these were the explanations given. And so, I don't know now if I have not paid, but whatever deduction is available, you just, and such incidences of selecting a case for sample scrutiny are very rare. So you will be caught only if there is a sample scrutiny. And in sample scrutiny only, but then somehow or the other, the artificial intelligence and several other things which are there, department got the clue of it after 4 or 5 years. And then everything was dig up. I know the name of the chartered accountant, I will not disclose, don't ask me. The proceedings are going on, but then those people have suffered. So, the lesson, please don't have any shortcuts so far as filing the returns of income are concerned. And not only you don't follow any shortcuts, but you also advise your youngsters not to follow such shortcuts, because nowadays, because of artificial intelligence and all other techniques which are being developed technologically, things will not remain without detection. Maybe you are able to make a money or something for a couple of years, but later on these things will not work out. Maybe people are expecting after a few years that as soon as the year is over, the income tax department will send you your own form number 2 duly filled in. Please check up if there is any variation in the form that we have filled in. This is your return of income, so much taxes are paid, balance are payable. Those days are not far off. So in such a situation, please do not go for any shortcuts. That's number one. And number two, uh, there are three things with which all of you are quite familiar. One is 26AS, the second is TIS, and the third is AIS, that is the Annual Information Statement. This AIS and TIS is a recent animal in the animal field, whereas 26AS is there right from assessment year 2009-10. And with that, you were quite familiar so far because all your tax payments used to be reflected in that 26AS. 26AS appears to be on the way of being deleted. Because up to last year, all tax details were available. Now only TDS details are available in it. Advance tax, self-assessment tax, all other tax details are not available in it. And perhaps instead of that TIN NSDL site, you may be able to download 26AS directly from income tax site. It's on the way out. But TIS and this 26AS as well as AIS, these are the animals with which we have a lot of fight to do. And that you have to learn. First of all, we have to understand that this is a derivative information, derivative product in the hands of department. And therefore, it need not necessarily be correct. If you are confident about your data, your own bank analysis, and your own statements of dividend, etc., technically you can stick up to that. Don't bother even if the figure in AIS is different. Of course, you try to reconcile the figures, but you have to understand if the figures are different and your figures are correct, you can always fight it out. Having said this, you have always to consider the cost-benefit analysis. So if there is a minor difference between AIS and your figure, better follow AIS figure, take that income tax figure and just forget about it. Don't jump to a conclusion that your whatever 10 rupees difference or 100 rupees difference should really make a mark on this. Because the cost of litigating or the cost of replying to various notices which are online is very, very tiresome, time consuming, and if you consider all that, take into account, better take the figure as per them. Why they are, I said derived figures is that who gives the information which comes in AIS? It is the various companies, broking houses, or the banks, or all these financial institutions. They only give the figures. And if they make mistake in submitting the figures, or if they delay in submitting the figures, then the income tax department will have only derived figures with which you are comparing. So that you. Again, there is a big confusion, and companies and mutual fund houses I have seen are not following a standard practice. That dividend payment, when it exceeds 5,000, tax is required to be deducted at source. When dividend payment is not exceeding 5,000, tax is not required to be deducted at source. But you will sometimes find these figures in 26A, so and so income, TDS is nil, and net income. Now all these things happen, and you have to tolerate this, you have to understand this, because at times even the company is clueless whether this person's dividend is going to exceed 5,000 rupees in a year. Take the case of a company like TCS. So your dividend for that, it gives dividend 4 times a year. First dividend was only 3,000. But if you consider next dividend, then total dividend may exceed 5,000 rupees. So companies, sometimes they take a stand that overall dividend for this person might be more than 5,000, and therefore let us deduct tax at source from the beginning. You may sell those shares, so there may not be any question of dividend in the next quarter, etc. But then that is why these differences are there. You have to stick up to it. You have to reconcile it. If the differences are small, I would always suggest, considering the cost benefit, you stick up to AIS figures even if they are a bit higher. But if your figures are higher, then you should take the higher figure. I will not say that you take the figure as per AIS. Another thing is, do not jump to a conclusion about the availability of a deduction. Availability of deduction which is based on a tribunal order or High Court order or Supreme Court order. Because if there is a tribunal decision, it could be reversed by the High Court. Department may not accept. Same goes with High Court. And even in case of Supreme Court judgment, we have seen on 3 or 4 contentious issues that the Finance Ministry in the next budget makes a retrospective amendment to nullify the effect of that decision. Why I am pointing out this particular fact is that redevelopment of societies is an order of the day in Mumbai. About 4 or 5 months back, there was a decision of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal in Mumbai saying that the rent paid by the builder to a flat owner when that displacement takes place, that rent is exempt from tax. Now that's a decision which has come. The correct position is rent which is paid by the developer, you is paid for because you are required to take an alternative accommodation and pay rent over there. So rent paid minus rent received, rent received minus rent paid plus or minus, that will be your income or loss as the case may be. You can't, if you are staying in your own flat, supposing you have got another flat, you stay in that flat, then you don't pay any rent at all. Then the rent received from the builder is an income from other sources in your hands. Now this was the understanding and according to me a correct interpretation of law. But the tribunal has taken a decision. My client telephoned me saying that, sir, that decision has come earlier, we have not claimed that exemption. How can we claim that exemption because we have unnecessarily paid heavy tax? I said, first of all, you can't revise your past returns based on a tribunal decision, and even this decision is not going to be accepted by the department. But then people jump to conclusions, and that's not necessary. That was another thing which I wanted to find out. Another from practical experience only, things can go wrong in these derivative products terribly. And this has happened. Uh, there is a case, I will take the name of the bank also because it's a prominent bank. Unfortunately, I was employed in my earlier years in that bank. It's one of the prominent nationalized bank, Bank of India. Okay. Now, several people have senior citizens FDs and bank FDs with banks, etc. Now, this friend of mine, he is a follower of our Sunil Mone. He does not believe in mutual funds, he does not believe in shares, and all his savings are only in bank fixed deposit, and that too only in Bank of India. Because, whatever be the reasons, Bank of India. If I were in bank at that time, I would have been happy because, the deposits have increased. Now, half the deposit interest is shown in his 26 As and half the deposit interest is shown in a partnership firm wherein he is a partner. Now, how bank can make a mistake of this magnitude is foreign Greek and Latin to me. But this mistake is made. Now, this person cannot file his own return. This person cannot file the return of a firm in which he is a partner unless Bank of India revises all 4-quarter TDS returns and uploads it on the site, and then it gets reflected in Form 26As, and then you can file the return. If in the meantime 31st July elapses, then he will have to file his return late and he will have to pay the fine or penalty for late filing of return of income. Now, bank manager at that place, I don't know, we will get it corrected immediately, don't worry. I will send it to my back office. Back office sends it to the zone in which that is directed. Zone must approach the chartered accountant whom the work might have been given sort of outsourced for filing the return. That person must be free to revise all the 4 quarters TDS returns of that entire north zone or south zone, etc. And then only it can come. Now, this mistake, how it has happened? It has happened, this is a big way. Earlier there were small instances, but these mistakes are happening even from banks, nationalized banks, etc. I haven't seen such a mistake in private sector banks. I haven't seen these mistakes so far in cooperative bank, but in nationalized banks, I have seen these mistakes. So you have to take precaution for that and then file your return of income well in time. Better to check the return with utility, etc. And all those technical details, now Akshay will let you know from each slide. And if there is anything which comes to my mind, I will let you know. But otherwise, it's Akshay's fourth.
Good morning, everyone. At the outset, I would like to thank Ashok Dere sir for giving me this opportunity. Not to forget the secretaries, Mr. Dhruv Patil, Mr. Sujit Vaingankar, and the entire team of PV Bhagwat Investment Guidance Cell, as well as of the Lokmanya Seva Sangha. This is indeed a great opportunity for me to present this presentation on the filing of income tax returns every year in the month of June, just before the due date approaches. My area per se today is taking you through the website nuances, wherein the minute details that are changing and updated by the department on a continuous basis, so that you are aware where to find, what to find, and how to go about it. This presentation was shared by me with Dere sir just 4 days back. He approved it, and just the next day the entire screenshot or the entire visibility of the site has changed. The AIS which was falling inside a different column has now popped up right in front of you. So this is the pace at which the income tax department is getting its site updated, and it is only for the benefit of people like us so that we can take it forward, and matching of the data takes place in a much easier way for everyone, the department as well as for us. Taking you through the website, the screen that appears on the income tax site is similar to this. You have to write www.incometax.gov.in in the address bar of your Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, whichever is your browser. Since most of you are regular filers of income tax returns, you already must have your credentials, that is login ID and the password. This is the area which has been highlighted in yellow. This is the login button that you need to click on the website. Once you click on the login button, earlier we used to enter only our PAN number as the login, but since the last 2 years, the PAN as well as the Aadhaar and also your TAN number is being allowed to be entered as your user ID. So if you are a tax deductor of source, like sir mentioned about the TDS returns of Bank of India for that matter. So earlier they used to file the returns through Traces website, but now they also have got an option to file it through the income tax website. So basically they are merging everything and collaborating it right through the income tax website, so that everything falls right under one roof and data mismatches are reduced to a larger extent. Next best thing that has come up is the Aadhaar. I hope all of you have linked your Aadhaar with your PAN, because the last date being the 30th of June. So the Aadhaar number will now be the more prominent number for filing of returns, is what I believe, because PAN and Aadhaar linking has become compulsory, and you can also take your Aadhaar as the user ID. So PAN, Aadhaar and TAN number. Also for CAs like us, we need to do audits. We can enter our user ID, which is the ARCA ID, depending upon the nature of professional you are. Once you enter your PAN number in this black box, you have to click on continue. Going further, there is this checkbox appearing in blue over here. You need to confirm your secure message, which is generally login over here. You have to enter your password. There is this button over here, if you can see. Most of the times the caps lock is on or off and we are unaware, and we keep trying our passwords which we know is correct, but still the user ID gets blocked. So there is this option wherein you can view your password after entering it or while entering it. So there are the chances of entering an incorrect password are reduced to a larger extent. Once you log into your profile, to your income tax portal, this is the page that pops up. Welcome back. The name pops up. Your mobile number, your Aadhaar card, 4 digits are visible, your email ID, everything is visible on this dashboard of yours. On the right hand side, here also your entire name appears, the status, that is individual, it can be appearing over here, and the options available in the drop down are my profile, change password and log out. You can file your income tax return right from this particular button over here, file now, file your return for the year ended 31st of March 23, it is right in front of you. The other options that are available apart from the dashboard are e-file, authorized persons, services, AIS, which I mentioned just now that it has come right over here, pending actions, grievances and help. I'll take you through each and every option so that you are aware what are the things available. Under the e-file option, the first thing that comes up is the income tax returns. The first option under income tax return is file your income tax return. Now this button and the earlier button which I showed you, the file now, it takes you to the same page, but the options are available at 2 different places. The next option is view file returns. So in case you need to refer your earlier returns which you must have not downloaded, there is this option called view file returns. You can download it now and keep it in your PC for further references. The third option is the e-verify return. I will take you through this e-verify option at a later stage. The fourth most important part is the view form 26AS. So many people are unaware where to get my 26AS from. So here it is right under e-file, income tax returns and view form 26AS. This is the most important document that you must have on hand before filing the income tax returns. Download pre-filled data and view AIS. Now this AIS button is also appearing over here, as well as it is appearing as under the e-file option, view annual information statement. Going further, the second option is the income tax forms. Now you must be wondering, Arey, income tax return and income tax form, how are they different? So income tax form is basically not the income tax return form ITR 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a different form. It can be any remittances that you have made to foreign people, foreign parties, which may be like 15 CACBs, and in many other forms are also available which may be applicable to you. So income tax returns are basically the ITR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 to be specific in case of individuals, and income tax forms are other than these ITRs. So you need to note this difference, otherwise you might get confused ki view filed forms मध्ये माझा form का नाही दिसत आहे, but it is not your form, it is your income tax return. So the income tax return can be viewed under this option, e-file income tax return, view filed returns, and the forms can be viewed under income tax forms, view filed forms. So I wanted to emphasize this, that these are two separate things. Going further, the authorized representative options are available. Yeah, one more thing over here, just after income tax form, there is this option of e-pay tax. So earlier we used to pay our taxes through the NHDL website. Now this NHDL website, the income tax website has also given us this option to make the payment of taxes. So e-pay tax option is available in your login. This option is also available on the dashboard itself, where you enter where you click the login button. See over here, this is the option e-pay tax. So basically a lot of quick links are available on the home page itself, which for that you need not log into your income tax portal, you can get it right from the dashboard itself, from the home page, sorry. The second option, as I mentioned, was the authorized partners. So in case your books of accounts are required to be audited under section 44AB or of the Income Tax Act, you need to assign your CA who will be auditing the books of accounts. So only after you assign your CA online is that the chartered accountant is able to file the tax audit report. So earlier what you used to say, I take my books of accounts to a CA, he says okay, I accept your assignment, and he audits your books of accounts, gets the audit report and gives it to you in the physical form. Now that is not the case. Now the assessee has to assign the chartered accountant. The chartered accountant has to accept the assignment, that too through online, and once the assignment is accepted, then only the chartered accountant can upload the audit report. Going further, once the chartered accountant uploads the audit report, the assessee has to accept it, and only then the entire process gets completed. So now everything has been synchronized and everything has come online, and records are much more clearer to the department. The fourth most important option is the AIS, as I mentioned over here. From the AIS, once you click on this AIS button, this screen pops up. You have to click on proceed. Once you click on proceed, this is a separate window that opens up. See over here, you can see there are two separate, this is one window, this is the second window. On the second window, first page is the instructions. On the right, there is this AIS option available. Once you click on that AIS, this page opens up. Now, make sure that the financial year that is mentioned over here is correct, because many a times this year may be different and you need to get the correct data by selecting the correct financial year. So since we are filing the returns for the financial year 22-23, we have to select 22-23 from the drop down. On the right hand side, it has been colored in black. This is the name of your SSE. So basically this is the name that is available for your confirmation that you should be sure that whose AIS and TIS you are downloaded. On the left hand side, this is the TIS, that is the taxpayer information summary. This is basically a compilation of all the data that is available in your AIS. So AIS will be like 10 lines of dividend received from A, B, C, D, E, but TIS will give you total amount of dividend. This is the difference between AIS and TIS. So TIS is basically the summary, AIS is the detailed report. Once you click on this download button, which is on the right hand bottom corner, you get this screen. You have to click on download. Once you click on download, the file gets downloaded and it will be saved in your downloads or whichever folder you have allocated for your downloaded file. The next option available over here is the AIS. Similar download option is available over here. Once you click on download, this screen pops up. Again, there are three options. For people who have a lot of entries in their AIS, the government has come up with this JSON utility. So basically what happens is a JSON utility file is separate and a JSON file for your AIS is separate. Normally people get to view their AIS directly, but in case a lot of entries are there, a separate JSON file is being made available from the department for us, and a separate JSON utility is also available. What you need to do is download the JSON file from the portal, download the JSON utility. In the utility you need to open this JSON file, and then you are able to view the data. So many a times people will think, why is my PDF file not getting generated? Why is my PDF file? Yes, definitely PDF files are available, but if your entries are less. This was also the case with Form 26AS, if many of you may be aware. You cannot directly download the 26AS, you had to download it through the Traces website in case the number of entries are large. Yeah. Over here, once I'll tell you, once you click on this download button over here, there will be a message that is popped in that a lot of entries are mentioned in your AIS. Please go for JSON file. So once you get that information, click on the second option that is available. The password is an important element which protects your AIS and TIS from being publicly available. So even if someone gets your AIS or TIS PDF files, they will not be able to view it because it is a password protected file. The password is very simple. It is your PAN number, all in small alphabets, and it is followed by your date of birth. This is the format. I have made it available. Also, once you click on the download option, there is this thing come up, go to activity history. Now you will say, if I have said download, it should get saved in my downloads folder. Why is it not happening? So many times it happens that a lot of people are logged in at the same time. So a log is created separately for your AIS, TIS, and once you click on this go to activity history, this screen will appear. And on this right hand side, you can get this option. In fact, I also tried it 3 times. Why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? Once I clicked on go to activity history, I came to know that I have tried it 3 times over here. See. So this is the case. And on the right hand side, this download button is available wherein you can get your PDF files. The option next to AIS is the pending actions. Here it is the work list, response to outstanding demand. Like many of you must have paid the outstanding demands, or there is no outstanding demand as per your calculation, but the department has sent you a notice that there is some mismatch, some interest calculation error, and there is a demand. You can reply to that from this option under the response to outstanding demand. If you have received any notice under section 143, there is this third option called the e-proceedings. You can view your notices. You can also get the option to reply to those notices from this e-proceedings option. The next is the grievance. In case you are not satisfied with any of the solution that has been provided, you can go to this grievance and you can submit your grievance. Once the grievance is submitted, you can also view the status. Many times it happens that we have submitted the grievance, but we are unaware how to check the status, whether it is resolved or not, what is the action taken by the government. You can check it from this view grievance status option. The fourth option is the help. There are a few things available. You can enter and you can search. Under the profile option on the right hand side that I had mentioned earlier, these are the details available. So your name, your date of birth, your PAN number, your gender, your PAN status, your Aadhaar number, whether linked or not. Another important thing, if your Aadhaar number is linked, there is this linked word with a green tick that is available. I believe if every one of you has already linked, you can just go home and check whether you have linked your Aadhaar card and whether it is actually linked on the portal. You must have done the process, but whether the actual linking has been done or not, you can check it through this under the My Profile option. You can also update your contact details, your mobile number, your email ID. On the left hand side, you have your bank account, your DMAT account, your registered DSC option. These are the few available links that are helpful to us. The mobile number, email ID and the address. You can change your address from this edit button over here, mobile number, email ID and address. Coming to the topic per se, the filing of income tax return on the online mode. As I mentioned earlier, e-file, income tax return, file income tax return is the first click that you need to do. Once you click on that, you have an option to select the assessment year. For the financial year 22-23, which ended in March, the assessment year comes 23-24. So this is the current assessment year. That is why the government has also mentioned it is the current assessment year. Many times people may make this mistake that they select 22-23 instead of 23-24. That is why the government has mentioned current AY in the bracket. You have to select the mode of filing, which is online over here. Click on continue. Once you click on continue, this screen appears. In case you have already saved a draft, they give you an option over here. You have saved a draft of income tax return pending for submission. In case you are doing this for the first time, you have to file a fresh income tax return. Click on start new filing. Once you click on start new filing, it gives you an option whether you are an individual, HUF or others. You have to select the individual option. Click on continue. Then they give you an option to select the ITR, which ITR is applicable to you. In case you are individual, 1, 2, 3 or 4. So selection of ITR is an important aspect for all of us. Many times we may select the wrong ITR and it may have some harmful repercussions on us. So these are the options available. ITR form number 1 will be for individuals being a resident, other than not ordinary resident, the income. There are criterias basically. So once you click on ITR 1, this entire detail that I have mentioned over here also pops up over here, if you can see. So at the time of selection of ITR also, you just select the ITR and you check whether I am fitting under this criteria. ITR 2 for individuals and HUFs not having income from business and profession. For ITR 4, it is for those who are offering income under 44 AD, that is a presumptive taxation. Again, once you select ITR 1, 2 or 4, whatever I have written earlier is also coming up on this screen. So you need to check whether you are proceeding with the right ITR or not. Once you click on ITR 1, click on proceed with ITR 1. This screen will appear. Click on let's get started. Then they ask you whether your taxable, why are you filing the income tax return? There are 3 options. Taxable income is more than basic exemption limit. As all of you must be aware, the basic exemption limit is 2,50,000 rupees. If your income is exceeding 2,50,000 rupees, then your taxable income is exceeding the basic exemption limit. I have selected others. Click on continue. You have to select the option which is applicable to you. This screen will appear. It will say we have pre-filled your data. Now what is this pre-fill? Whatever data is already available with the department from various sources. Say your address is given to the department by you itself. Your mobile number is given by you under the profile section, as you can check. But there are other informations also which are falling or which are being pulled into your income tax returns from the other entities who are uploading their SFT returns, who are uploading their TDS returns and many more. So this gives you a pop-up that we have already pre-filled your data. You need to check it and update it if there are any changes. Then once the data is pre-filled, it is you who have to validate the data. There may be an error. The mobile number may be 69 and it has been mentioned as 96. Whatever may be the case, you have to update the errors and then click on continue and upload. Yeah.
You are liable for tax, etc. So this is a confusion which I have found in many people. Arey, my income is less than 5 lakhs. I don't have to file the return. Arey, this year the limit is 7 lakhs rupees. I don't have to file the return because my income is less. My income is less than 2.5 lakhs. My income is less than 3 lakhs. You have to understand that income tax basic limit is 2,50,000 for people who are below this limit. People who are above 60, the basic limit is 3 lakhs, and people above 80, for them the limit is 5 lakhs. So there may be a person whose income is say 3.5 lakhs. He might have paid tax, PPF of 1,50,000 or something of that sort. So his income becomes 2 lakhs. Tax payable is nil. still he has to file the return because basically he is liable for payment of tax, liable to file the return because his income exceeds the basic limit and basic limit is only 2,50,000. That many times is forgotten. That is why I am telling you, your exemption limit is not 7 lakhs. Your exemption limit is not 5 lakhs, not 3 lakhs or not 2. It depends on your age and your other profile. Another thing I have seen, actually it has happened, that bank asked me, you fill up that form so that we shall not deduct tax at source. Now, if your income is in excess of the limits which are prescribed in your case, 2.5 lakhs, 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs, you cannot issue that form at all. It's an offense. बैंक ने बोल दिया मैंने फॉर्म पे सही कर दिया. Bank may not deduct tax at source. That doesn't mean that the income is not taxable. This is a mistake. I have seen every year people committing in their understanding. That's why I just.
Going further, the first option that is available to you while validating your pre-filled return is the personal information. Once you click on this personal information tab, following screen appears: your name, PAN, date of birth, Aadhaar number, your contact details, including your address, mobile number, email ID. Then comes the section under which you are filing the return. It is 139(1) if you are filing it before the due date of filing of income tax returns. Then there is this option: are you opting for the new tax regime under section 115 BAC? Please make sure that you select the right option, yes or no, over here. Then comes your bank account detail. Now this is a very important aspect over here. As I mentioned in the earlier slide, in your profile you have on the left hand side my bank account. Make sure that your bank account is validated before you file your income tax returns. Why it is important is, in case you end up having a refund as per your income tax calculations, the department will credit the refund in your bank account only and only if it is validated on the income tax website. Otherwise, the income tax department will say that yes, we agree that there is a refund, we are ready to make the payment to your bank account, but since it is not validated, we will not be processing the refund. So even after you receive the intimation, even after you say yes, the department has agreed, the amount will not get credited to your bank account until and unless it is validated by you on the income tax portal. So make sure that your account which has been mentioned on the income tax portal is validated. Yeah. You just have to enter your bank account number, your IFSC code number, and you have to press on validate button. That's the only thing that you need to do. Yeah, actually, yes, all the bank accounts are to be intimated to the income tax department, but you have an option to select the refund account. Like if you say that my main account is Bank of India and I want to get the credit in my Bank of India account only, you have to select this option. See over here, selected for refund, if you can see on the screen. Only and only this tab will decide which account should the refund be credited. So even if 7 accounts are mentioned over here, if you select your bank account of specified bank in which you need the refund will be credited only to that bank account. Yeah, and it should be validated. Over here you can see just below the account number, the word validated is mentioned. Now the third option, third bank account ending in 759, it is saying not pre-validated. So even if I have mentioned it in my income tax return, I will not select it for my refund because it is not validated. Now validation may have many criterias because sometimes the PAN number may not be linked properly, sometimes your bank server may not be working. So I also encountered such a case that I tried to validate the account for 2 times, 3 times, it did not happen. And the next day when I just did it for 1 time, it validated. So there are many other reasons due to which the account may not be validated. So it is always better that you keep keep a check on your profile and the bank accounts. Make sure that they are validated on the income tax portal. And this option is available under my profile option, which is right over here on the right hand side. If you can see, I'll just show it to you once again, since this is an important aspect. Over here, this is the my profile option. The first option is the my bank account. Going further, filing of income tax return, the second part, just after you complete the personal information, ending with the bank details, you click on confirm. Once you click on confirm, over here a green tick and confirmed word, it comes up. So you are sure that the first tile has been validated, first tile has been confirmed by me. That means that pre-filled data has been appropriately updated by me, and I am confirming the data that is available on the portal. The next tile is the gross total income. Under the gross total income, whatever are your incomes, heads like interest income or any other income, salary income, you have to mention. Accordingly, all the tabs like gross total income, deductions, tax paid and tax liability need to be confirmed by you. The tax paid amount comes in directly, it flows through your through the data that is available in your 26AS. Also your advance tax payments and your self-assessment tax payments. Everything comes under the tax paid amount, tax paid tile. The tile just below that is the total tax liability. The total tax liability amount is based on the data that is provided by you under the gross total income and the deductions. So you need to mention the correct data under the gross total income tile and the total deduction tile. The tax liability is calculated by the department itself. So your calculation which is available with you needs to match with the data and the calculation that is done by the income tax website. So you need to match it first, and only when the figures are matching, please proceed. If there is any error, make the changes right here under the gross total income and the total deductions option. You are not able to change anything under the total tax liability. It is just a resultant area wherein the data is calculated by the department based on the information that is confirmed by you. So once all the 4 or 5 tiles are confirmed, you have this option called proceed. Just next to that is the download JSON option. Now what is this download JSON? Download JSON means all the data that you have entered on the website, you can keep a copy of that with you under the download JSON option. What you can do is, you can save it for a later date and file the return. Once you have a download JSON file, you need not enter all this data once again when you log in. Say today you have filled in the data, but you think, nahi, I will file the return only on the 15th of July, whatsoever may be the reason. So you can keep this download JSON file separately. On 15th of July, you know where the file is. You go to the online portal, you click on file income tax return, select the option offline. And under offline, you can get an option to upload this JSON file. I also have a screenshot of that. I will show it to you in the further course. So after all these confirmations are done, click on proceed, and you can proceed with the filing of income tax return. The second one is the ITR 2. On the ITR 2, similar options are available. Let's get started. Taxable income, proceed. Under ITR 2 and ITR 1, the main difference that comes up is over here. Above, in ITR 1, you had an option to confirm the data, right? But here you also have an option to select or deselect the tiles. So on the left hand side, it says that total 16 schedules are selected. The heads of schedules are general, income, deduction, tax and others. Under the general, I am selecting only the part A, that is the general information, and also it is mandatory. The second schedule, that is the schedule governed by Portuguese Civil Code. Since I am not governed by the Portuguese Civil Code, I will not select the tile at all. So once I click on continue, after I make the appropriate selections in the check boxes, then I can get the options in my tiles which are required to be filled by me. So this is an option available. The second option after general comes the income. Suppose I am a salaried employee having FD interest and salary, but I don't have any house property. So I can deselect the house property income over here. In case I have a house property income, but I don't have any capital gains, I can select the house property, I can deselect the capital gains option. So the government has given you the options to select or deselect in the ITR 2. Once the deductions, similar option is also available in the deduction, that I don't have anything under 80G, 80GGA, but I have my mediclaim, so I will select the 80D option. Going further, after all the check boxes are complete, again a similar tile manner which was seen by us in ITR 1 pops up. After you select all the schedules, it looks something like this. Again, the green ticks are required. Once all the green ticks are available under the schedule ATD, 86A, schedule AMT, AMTC, Part B, TI, TTI, this proceed to verification option will be validated. You have to click on proceed to verification and then proceed with the filing of returns. The third ITR is ITR 4, which is for individuals having income under the presumptive income. Similar steps are to be followed. Click on pre-filled option yes. Now ITR 4 and ITR 1 have a similar display. The tiles are directly populated. Only ITR 2 gives you an option to select or deselect the check boxes. So this is the main difference between ITR 1.4 and ITR 2. Again, you have to check whatever is the data available, yes, no, bank account validations, confirmations. Once everything is confirmed, click on proceed. Now, as I mentioned earlier that you have this option to download JSON. Once you download the JSON and keep it on your desktop or whatever folder you need, how to file the JSON in the income tax portal. So, earlier we had selected the option as online. Now we have to select the option as offline. We have to select the ITR type, that is the 139.1 original return. Are you audited under 44AB? Most of us maybe not. Select the appropriate option. Select the ITR type, whether it is ITR 1, 2, 4, 3, whatever. Click on continue. Once you click on continue, this screen will appear. So when I said that you have to upload the file, this is a screen where you have an option to upload the JSON file, which was already kept ready by you, but you had kept held it for filing because you are unaware whether some 26 AS entries may change, whether some AIS information may change. So the data is ready, but you had kept it on hold, and now you are confirmed that whatever data you had saved was right. You can simply upload that JSON file. No need to go through that entire process of select yes, no, confirm, A, B, C, D, whatever, nothing is required. That JSON file is directly to be uploaded over here under the attach file option. Now, apart from all of this, what is the system requirements? The government is very clear about the system requirements. It has been given that from assessment year 21-22 onwards, if most of us, since we are using the Windows OS, your architecture, your Windows 7 or later are required, and ARM version of Windows is not supported. So many times it so happens that, my PC is working for other things, but why my income tax return is not getting filed? Make sure that your system requirements are also getting fulfilled. So this is a screen which gives you the system requirements. Apart from this, what we also have a facility or an easier way to do this entire process is the offline utility. So it may so happen that many times we don't have an internet connection on a continuous basis, but you have your PC, you have your data on you, but internet is not there. So what you can do is, you can download the income tax return filing utility from the portal. Once the utility is downloaded, you can fill in the entire data very similar to the manner in which we were filling it on the income tax website. So you click on this desktop utility, click on continue. This utility is for ITR 1 to ITR 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 returns can be processed through this utility. You have to allow the access. Once you click on this continue button over here, this screen will appear. You have to select file returns. Once you click on file return, you can import the pre-filled data, you can download pre-filled data, or you can import the draft ITR. So whatever data is available on the portal, the pre-filled data can also be downloaded. So the JSON can be downloaded in 2 manners. One, before we update the data. Second, after we update the data. So once we have the utility, we can download the pre-filled data. So we don't have to enter the name, mobile number, email ID, everything continuously. So you just take the pre-filled data, import that pre-filled data in this utility, click on continue. Going further, enter the PAN assessment here, click on proceed. This is the option for import pre-filled data. You click on attach the file, click on proceed. Going further, it says what is the PAN, taxpayer, name of the taxpayer, assessment year, and the imported date. Click on file returns. And once that entire thing is completed, you can file the income tax return on the income tax portal. You have to attach the file over here, click on proceed for verification. The most important thing that is required for all of us is the e-verification. Now, all of you have filed the income tax return, everything is done. Oh, my return is filed, I am through. 31st July आधी माझं सगळं काम झालंय. But you have to take into consideration that the time limit for e-verification, which was 120 days earlier, has now been reduced to 30 days. So even if you have filed the income tax return on the 31st of July, you have to make sure that the same return has been e-verified within 30 days. Otherwise, the return will be invalidated. So this is a very important aspect. Many times people are traveling abroad, they may file the returns and they may leave, but the e-verification process may stuck up, and this may result in further consequences. Yeah. Yeah. Because what is mentioned over here is the time limit for submission of ITRV or e-verification shall be 30 days from the date of transmitting or uploading the data on the income tax or return electronically. So they have not said 30 days from the due date of filing of return. So you cannot just say की मी 1 जुलैला फाईल केला आता मी 31st ऑगस्ट पर्यंत रिटर्न ई-व्हेरीफाय करू शकतो. That is not the case. This is my interpretation though. So 30 days from the date of transmitting or uploading the data of return of income electronically. Correct? I have also shared the notification with you, Dhruv sir. You can circulate it. This 30 days ka notification is available. Also I have made available FAQs which has been, there are 73 FAQs which have been published by taxmen. So this is also for the assessment year 23-24. I have also shared it. Maybe he'll circulate it with the people. So this FAQs, many of our simplest questions we are unaware and we make minor mistakes can be avoided if we read the FAQs first and then we proceed with the filing of returns. Yes, sir. You wanted to say? Okay. So e-verify return. Where is this option of e-verification of return? Under e-file, income tax return, the third option, as I mentioned earlier, is of the e-verify return. What appears when I click on the e-verify return? This is the screen that appears. So what are the options available with me? I can e-verify my return through my OTP. I can e-verify my return through net banking, through bank account, through demat account. One more option available with you is with e-verification with the digital signature. Since many of us are individuals, we may not be having the digital signature. So Aadhaar OTP is the simplest option for us. For Aadhaar OTP, what is required is your mobile number and your Aadhaar number should be linked, and your PAN number and your Aadhaar number should be linked. So basically it is a linking of PAN, Aadhaar and mobile number, all three together. Then only you can proceed with this e-verification through OTP on mobile number registered with Aadhaar in a convenient manner. Otherwise it is much more difficult. Once you click on this, I would like to verify using OTP, this screen will appear. You have to agree to validate the Aadhaar details, and then this option comes up, generate Aadhaar OTP. Once you click on Aadhaar OTP, you will receive an SMS and an email which confirms that your income tax return has been filed and it has been verified successfully. Nowadays the department is also sharing the income tax acknowledgement online. So once you confirm and you validate the e-verification process through Aadhaar OTP, you will receive a proper email from the department. The email also contains an attachment which has the acknowledgement. It has a mention at the bottom, do not send this acknowledgement to Bangalore in red bold characters, wherein now you are very sure that my return is complete. So just by filing the income tax return online is not the completion of the process. E-verification is the last step that you need to complete. The e-verify return option is also available out of your dashboard, so you need not log in to your e-verify your return. Once you go to the dashboard, the home page, there's this first option which is e-verify return. You click on that, you enter your PAN, you enter your assessment number, your acknowledgement number and your mobile number, click on continue. Now you will ask, where will I get the acknowledgement number from if my return is not complete? So the difference between e-verified return and non-e-verified return is that you have filed the return, the acknowledgement number is generated on the date of filing of return, but the return is not verified. So once you file the return online, you have an option to download the e-filed return. You can get the acknowledgement number from that acknowledgement. That is to be mentioned over here. Where will I get the income tax return acknowledgement before I e-verify return? Again, over here under the e-file returns, income tax returns, just above e-verify return, you have an option called view file returns, as I mentioned earlier. So under the view file returns, you have to select your assessment year. You have an option to download the acknowledgement as well as the income tax form. So from that, you get the acknowledgement number, which you need to mention over here if you are e-verifying it from the home page. So PAN, assessment year, acknowledgement number, mobile number, click on continue. This will be completion of the e-verification process. The last and the most important aspect which I needed to cover over here was the feedback on the AIS information. As sir said that you can take a cost benefit analysis and whether you need to accept the AIS amounts or you need to reject the AIS amounts. If there is a huge difference of say 2 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees and you are not ready to accept that amount because you feel it is not justified on the part of the government and I will be sufferer if I accept such an information which is provided by the AIS. The government has also given an option to provide a feedback on the AIS information. So it is not so that the information in the AIS is confirmed and you have to pay taxes on it, you have to simply accept it, there is no appeal to it. This is not the case. Once you go on your AIS, as I mentioned earlier, you have this option wherein you can see, this is a short screenshot wherein it says that there is a dividend, the SFT is 015, dividend income from which company, the total dividend amount is say 120. Now this instead of 120, if it is say 1,20,000, which I am not ready to accept, I have to click on this small line wherein this down arrow is there. A small table will open up. What is the breakup of this 120? Which says the serial number, the reported date, the dividend amount, the status, which is active or inactive, and the feedback. This is the most important part over here, the feedback. Now this feedback has an option called optional. So you need not compulsorily reply to all the AIS informations. Only those informations which you feel are not right or not acceptable to you need a feedback. For that you need to click on this optional tab. Once you click on this optional tab, the add feedback screen will appear, which is this. On the add feedback screen, what it says, what is the information category? It is say dividend. What is the information code, the information description, the information source. You also know the source, like who has uploaded this dividend under my PAN. Then the information details are available, the reported date and the feedback type. Now, what is important for us to note is they have given only these options, which are pretty much appropriate for all of us, wherein we can reply. The first option is information is correct, which definitely we will not revert because if it is correct, we are accepting it. The second option is income is not taxable. This you may report. Suppose say you are receiving interest on PPF, which is not taxable. You can select that second option, income is not taxable. The third option is information is not fully correct. Now suppose say you have received the dividend, but only 60 rupees. But instead of 60, the AIS is showing 120. That means what? The information is doubled, which means the information is not fully correct, but it is also not fully wrong. Say, because you have received the dividend, the person giving the dividend is also the same. There is a variation in the amount. So this third option can be selected. The fourth option, information relates to other PAN or year. Now, many of us may also reply under this, which says like you have a joint account with your spouse and the information is appearing in your AIS also and in your spouse's AIS also, because both the PANs are available with the company who is reporting. So you can always say that this information is not relating to me, it is relating to some other PAN. Other option is information relates to other year. You have received the dividend in the year 21-22, but the reporting is done in the financial year 22-23. So you have an option to reply that this information is not relating to this year. I have already offered this income in my earlier income tax return and so this is incorrect. Just below that is the option information is duplicate or included in other information. So it also may happen that the information is showing twice or thrice or 4 times. Like in one of my clients' case, there was some sale of property of 29 lakhs and it was appearing for 3 times. So 29, 29, 29. So you can always say that this information is duplicate and it is already included in some other source of information. The last option is information is denied. You can simply deny the information. Obviously, any reply to this AIS has got repercussions. You must have strong documentary evidences with you to prove your worth, and also the cost benefit analysis, as Dere sir already mentioned. So, this was the entire thing about the income tax returns, the online processes. I would once again like to thank all of you, and yes, if there are questions. Where? No, we don't have to upload the documents. Nothing is to be uploaded. But we need to have it on our record. You just cannot say that the information is denied and your bank account is already showing a credit. Then it is not acceptable. So SFT is information is available from the reporting entities. Now there are few people who have been assigned with the task of reporting the data. So you are the receiver of income. So the person who is making the payment is required to give your information to the government. So SFT is not our lookout. SFT is the lookout of the reporting entity, the person who is making the payment. That way.
I have told you in the beginning that this information in AIS is a derivative information.
Yes, correct.
It comes to the department from some other source, SF, that is the banks, financial institutions, brokers. All these persons are feeding, or the company, if you are a salaried employee, all these persons are required to give the information by way of filing regular returns, TDS returns or SFT return. From those returns, the information relating to your PAN is collated and brought into this. So there are several persons. Now those persons might have made a mistake. That is what. That is why he said, no, then in that case you can deny the information. So if you can deny the information, then in that case you must have a strong evidence that this amount is not received by you at all. Or I will say, for example, in my own case it has happened. There is a dividend amount of some 6,000 rupees, which I have, it is shown in AIS. Now this dividend is from a company of which for the last many years I am not holding any shares at all. So I can say you can check my demat account, I am not having any shares, I have not received this dividend. However, AIS is showing this information. That is what he said by way of a strong evidence. I have an evidence that this dividend is not owned by me. So I will not offer it for taxation.
Any information that is appearing in your AIS, any information, you have an option to reply.
But this SFT income is not coming in the AS.
Sir, SFT,
Suppose a property transaction.
sir, any transaction, if it is required by the government to be reported by the reporting entity, it will appear in your AIS. So don't be confused with SFT. SFT is just one option which is appearing in your AIS. AIS contains your 26AS details also. AIS contains your TDS and advanced tax details also. SFT is just one option in the AIS. So what you need to check is your AIS in totality. Don't focus on SFT. SFT is the reporting entity's lookout, not our lookout, sir. Our area is the AIS, because based on the AIS, our information, our income tax return is being pre-filled that way. Yeah, man.
Just a minute, because you raised the question of SFT, all sub-registrars where property is registered, that information is fed to the income tax department. So therefore, it is the sub-registrar of assurances, all these, they are the information giver.
Correct. Reporting
Income
entities.
tax department is the receiver, and after receiving it, it is allocated to your PAN number. That is why it appears in your AIS.
Correct.
So in this process, if anyone makes a mistake, ultimate entry into AIS could be wrong. That is why the option of denial.
Yeah,
Senior citizens, they have not to pay advance tax.
correct. If they don't have business
After
income.
filing the return, they have to pay the tax.
If you are not having any business income, then only you are exempt from advanced tax
Monthly
payments.
interest income.
Then you are not
but
required to make
senior
advanced tax
citizens,
payment.
while filing the return, at the end of the year, they have to pay the tax, whatever comes.
Correct.
But any income is limited. Suppose if it is more than 10 lakh or they have not to pay tax, is of course they have to pay.
Correct.
But restriction is there that suppose income is more than 50 lakhs,
Huh.
you have to pay advance tax in case of senior citizen.
I believe yes.
I know of a person whose income is 2 crores of rupees and he doesn't pay advance tax.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is you should not have any income under the head business. No income under the head business, then you are not required to pay any advance tax. That is why I gave you the example, income 2 crores, but no business income, no advance tax is paid. He pays his entire tax on self-assessment before filing the return. Before filing the return.
Yes, sir.
If a person files his income online,
Sorry, sir.
if a person files his income online and he wishes to address the grievances, then is it necessary for him to do that online only to address the grievances,
Which grievance you are talking about, sir?
whatever may be, to income tax department?
There is this option available now. You can submit your grievance online.
If, no, means can he address his grievances offline also?
Yeah, he can address his grievances offline also, but the pace at which the grievances are being redressed online is much higher than the pace at which it is addressed offline. So you can get much faster results online. Offline, you are not aware who is the concerned assessing officer, whether he will do it at the right time. If you are presenting your entire case and he gets transferred, then what is the result? That is why online is a much convenient option for us. Yeah. Yeah, just 1 minute, sir.
In the system, there is there any way out or to retrieve the partially filled up form? Yes. To retrieve that.
Retrieve back.
So certain data I want to fill up to some time after calculating, after checking.
Yeah, so basically it is not about AIS, it is about income tax return, sir. What you need to do is you need to start new filing, feed in half of the data which is available with you, keep it like that. After say 15 days, you get the final data with you. You go to the income tax website, there is this option called resume filing of return, resume. So at that point of time, you need to select the resume option. If you again click on start new filing, the earlier data will be lost. So there are two options. I have also mentioned this in a screen. I'll just show it to you. Yes. Over here. See here, you have saved draft of income tax return pending for submission. If you already have filled in half of the data, you get an option over here to resume filing, just above start new filing. So start new filing is for those who have not filled in any data. So you can fill half of the data, and once you log in again, a resume filing option will appear just above this. Yes, madam.
I have agree with HDFC Bank.
Yeah.
What they do is they do not show, like State Bank shows interest credited and TDS both.
Correct.
But HDFC doesn't show, they just credit the net interest.
Okay.
So I do not know how much TDS they have deducted.
Correct.
Okay. I get to know only after I get the TDS certificate.
Correct.
At the end of the quarter.
Correct.
Now this year what has happened is I got 4 TDS certificates from them for
Correct.
this quarter.
Correct.
They are showing that they have paid me 1 lakh by way of interest and they have debited 10,000 by way of.
TDS.
That means I should get net credit of 90,000.
There is a catch over here, madam. It is not necessary that the net amount of 90,000 is credited to your account right now. If you have FDs,
It would be
accrued.
Some part will be accrued.
Yeah, accrued, yeah.
So I saw that there is a huge difference
Correct.
in my bank statement and what TDS
Correct.
So I asked the bank for an interest certificate.
Interest certificate. Correct.
Okay. Now the bank has given me interest certificate which shows 50,000 interest credited.
And 5,000 TDS.
20,000 accrued.
Ah,
So 70,000.
70,000.
Okay.
Correct.
That means my entry was only 50,000.
Correct.
But they have shown 70,000 accrued.
Correct.
And 7,000 TDS.
Okay. But it is not matching with the TDS.
Matching with the TDS.
You need to address it to the bank, madam.
How do I go about?
You need to address this to the bank basically.
I have written to the bank, they are sleeping over it for 1 month. Now it's a time for me to file return.
Correct.
My AIS as well as 26A shows 1 lakh
Correct.
and 10,000.
Correct.
Which is not the case.
Correct.
Otherwise, if I accept that, I'll be paying additional tax. On
Correct.
the
I agree.
10,000.
Now, this is very similar to the example which Dhere sir gave right before the starting of the session.
See, you can do one thing. In your income from other sources, you just write the interest income received plus accrued as per your calculation, say 70,000, and you claim credit of only 7,000. Although there is a TDS shown of 10,000, you claim credit of only 7,000. And for remaining 3,000 credit, you fight with the bank. So, sorry, even Bank of India is not the only culprit, HDFC Bank is also culprit.
Privates are falling in line.
But I can file the return with this 70,000 and 7,000.
Yeah.
I thought I'm stuck up now.
No, but this may result into what you say difference when you get an intimation under 143(1)(a).
Only you have claimed proper credit.
Correct.
No, I will claim TDS 7,000.
But you make sure that you are behind the HDFC Bank people and get it rectified before the income tax department comes to you.
That means they will have to rectify their
Yes, they will surely have to rectify it.
TDS certificate.
Yes, yes. Even if you file with 70, that record with the government is always as 1 lakh. So sometime later they will come to you. So make sure that the returns are rectified before the department comes to you. Like that.
Where is this feedback?
This one you are saying, sir?
Feedback.
Yeah, this feedback part.
It is under what?
Once you click on AIS, you get all the entries that are appearing in your AIS. This first tile, as I showed you, on the left hand corner, this is this down arrow over here, if you can see. Right? So there are a lot of entries. Out of the lot of entries, you need to select which entry is not acceptable to you. You click on drop down over here. Once you click on drop down, this right hand corner, you get an option called feedback and optional. You click on optional, this second screen appears, add feedback. And then all the details are there. From the feedback type, under the drop down, you need to select the appropriate drop down and click on submit.
In the AIS, can I write that I don't agree or whatever?
Yes, so basically you need to select the option first. If suppose you select information is denied, I believe there should be a box wherein you can type, why are you denying to this information? Luckily this is available in AIS because 26AS in 26AS there is no such option. So AIS at least gives us some option. Yeah.
AIS is a work in progress.
Yes, sir.
AI shows the interest on PPF also.
Yeah, sometimes yes.
Suppose I select the feedback and it is not taxable, but what is the source? It is PPF interest or LIC? Can I write there?
If it is PPF interest and you are aware, you can directly enter it in your exempt income while filing the return. So no need to give a feedback required. You are accepting the amount, right? The feedback is required only when you are not accepting the amount. Because once the department gets a figure, it will match it with your income tax return. So somewhere if they find it, even if under exempt income, they will accept it. Only if they have a doubt that the bank is saying it is taxable, but you are saying it is exempt, then only they will come to you.
Mistake or rather the forgetting part which is done is, supposing you have received a gift of rupees 10 lakhs from your son or from your father. Now it is certainly not your income. It is certainly not taxable. I mean, it is certainly taxable. That you have to understand. So gift is a taxable amount. Any gift received is taxable. Now gift from certain relations is exempt. Therefore, this amount of gift received from father, you must write in that income claimed exempt from tax. Income claimed exempt from tax, you should say rupees 10 lakhs received from father is exempt under section 56 subclause so and so. Even if you don't write section 56, you can write gift exempt, It's an income because gift is an income. Normally you and I understand that gift is not income. Under Income Tax Act, gift is income and donee is supposed to pay tax on gift except certain gifts received from certain relatives.
So what he means is basically the income is exempt, but you need to show it that in your income tax return. Just because it is exempt doesn't mean you need not report it, because the transaction is already on record. So you need to make a disclosure in the income tax return under the exempt income tab.
So this matrix is AS and AIS will be existing both in future also. It's a confusing. There are two giving the statement.
I believe, sir, it is not confusing rather, because 26 AS and AIS is confirming that the data is correct.
So both individual has to see both.
Yes, ideally both have to be checked, because the data in AIS is a summary basically. So 26 AS is providing data to the AIS data. It is just, yeah, like madam said, her AIS is also showing 1,10,000, 26 AS is also showing 1 lakh. So it is basically a confirmation for us. Rather than checking twice, it is basically confirming that the data is correct.
There is an earlier version 26 years
Yeah.
and AS has now
Correct.
come in the picture for last
2-3 years, correct.
So I think slowly they should take out this 26 years.
Maybe, sir.
It's confusing.
Next year onwards, probably it may be deleted.
And possibility, as Dere sir already said, a time will come that you just have to accept or reject the data. This is the return, you either accept or reject. That is the only thing that is coming in near future, right? I hope there are no more questions, and I hope I have given my best to this subject. If there is anything, let me know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dere sir. Thank you, Akshay. Wonderful session. I am sure a lot of doubts have been clarified here. And if you need more help, probably we can reach out to you. So with that, we will call a close of this session.